Hello and welcome to the Circuit Breakers interview series. I'm your host, Steve Semler, FocalPoint Business Coaching. And today I'm joined by Jay Honsey, who is the president of Advanced Control Systems Design, Inc., an industry leader in technology control for video conferencing, audio conferencing, and data signal processing altogether. Jay, thanks so much for joining us. Would you like to kick us off with a brief background as to who we are and what you do?
Sure. I've been with this business for about 15 years. The business has been together for around 19, 20, right around there. I think we're going to celebrate the 20th next January. We do all kinds of system integration, basically for AV, mostly for the AV world. We make all of the microphones and the cameras and the program and the computers and the bring your own devices rooms work together seamlessly, ideally. Sometimes the design is against us a little bit and we have to work through that, but that's it. That's that. I've been in the industry. I've been in the audio industry since around 1991. I put in my first house music system, and then I was a live sound guy for 12 or so years after that. Traveled the country, did all that live sound guy stuff. Also, during that time, I was in bands and still am a musician. This company actually was started by musicians. So we're all kind of Palmer, who started this company, was he was always joking that we were kind of the misfits. Like we all came off the road. We all had kind of unconventional starts to our business lives, and we all kind of came together and did this. So that's kind of the background of where we're coming from.
Yeah. Well, how did you get kind of started in the control systems end of things?
So I was living in Mankato, Minnesota. It's been in the news a lot lately for the flooding. I was living in Mankato and working for a company there. I decided that I didn't want to be on the road anymore. It was great. It was fun. It was actually a pretty cool life for a young guy. But I was looking at some of the older guys. I just didn't want to be. They seemed to be getting kind of jaded in their older age. The joke is the grumpy sound guy, and there was a lot of them out there back then. Anyway, that has not been my experience lately, but back then, late 90s, early 2000s, there was a lot of change happening, a lot of strange stuff. So I went and started working for a company called VSI, and they were out of Mankato. So I was an installation tech, but being I came from an audio background, they put me on programming, biamp, electrosonics, BSS, all of the DSPs that we had, the audio signal processors. And I met Palmer, who started this business, on a project, and we hit it off. And he's a great guy. I'll be talking more about him throughout this. He's amazing. He started this company. He would basically hid the company that he was working for. He was a sales engineer who takes everything that the salesman sells, puts it together, and tries to make a system out of it.
Yeah.
And he broke off from that. Well, that company dissolved, and he needed to do something. And he started this company with a leased laptop from Dell, and we met on a project, and we hit it off. And we went through a few projects, me working with video services and him. And then in 2008, fall of 2008, he asked me if I would like to come work for him. And it was kind of a transition phase in my life because I was I'd just gotten engaged and was going to get married. And we we'd been thinking about moving to the metro area anyway, and so I did. We we I took the job and moved up here. And when I started, I was a project. He just needed a project manager, somebody to keep everything straight. It was him and two other programmers, and him and three other programmers. Sorry, there was four programmers and me, and I wasn't supposed to be doing any programming at all at that time. And our big project management um, section area of the office was a whiteboard that I would handwrite stuff out and then erase it when it was done. Um, and That's how I kind of got into it. And then we discovered this need for audio programming on everything.
Mm.
Nobody was doing any of the audio programming with the companies that we were working for. So we basically threw it on as a service, charged a nominal fee, not much, just to keep, because it was easy for me. I could move them through quickly. And that's when I kind of started to become a project manager programmer. And then as things moved on and people came and went and we had more employees, less employees, things, I was always the audio guy. Um, and then I actually I've stayed the audio guy throughout. We have other programs. In fact, I own the business with two other guys, Guy Goddess and Nate Goblin, who are fantastic, by the way. And Guy does all the sales, and Nate's the money guy. He's tells us what we can and can't spend our money on. and um, so they are this control system programmers, and I'm the audio system programmer. So, but we always were working together all the time.
Mhm.
It's hand in hand. They have to talk to my stuff. My stuff has to be able to talk to their stuff. So I have a lot of, I have more experience in the control system world than most people, but I don't consider myself a control system programmer. I have gone through the Crestron programming. I've gone through the Extron programming training. I've done it before. I'm not great at it, and I will be the first to admit that. I am an audio guy. Um, I can do it. It takes me forever. I'm just not practiced. So that's one thing that we have our own, we know our strengths and we keep it in in those areas. And we hire people with strengths that complement our strengths, that are weaknesses, strengths. We make sure everybody gels well, because without that, we even though we're mostly remote workers now, it's a very collaborative business, because there is so much, things change fast. And when one thing starts going, and we just had our main, we just had the Infocom show. Tons of new stuff, tons of new firmware updates, new features, new stuff. We have to talk about that. Like and some guys are better at touch panels, some guys are better at the workings. Um, we've We just hired a guy that does almost exclusively the new QSys programming, and that handles both the audio and the control in the same program, which is amazing. It works great. It's kind of taken over. It's really, really good stuff. And we hired him part-time, and that's not going to last long. We're gonna have to bump him up. So
And
yeah,
you're
that's
building
kind of what we do.
stuff. Yeah,
Well,
you're building systems, and if you're going to integrate that stuff, you got to collaborate.
exactly. Yes. And we have one guy has done this before and somebody hasn't. There's always, we use Teams like a lot of companies. And we just hit on the staff chat. Have you done this before? Because I have no idea what's going on here. And boom, you get answers, and we go ahead and implement them, and then away we go. So yeah, it's really that's we've always Palmer was great at stressing collaboration, collaboration, collaboration. We're none of us are islands. We're all in this together. No egos or anything. We just, if I have something that works for you, or if it doesn't matter. Yesterday I took over one of my QSC programs because he didn't have time to meet a deadline. So I just grabbed it. And because we collaborate so much, our styles are close enough so I can look at the program and say, oh, I see what you're doing here. I'll add what I need to add, and away we go. So that's really nice. And that's been one of our strengths, I believe. And that's why we're able to produce product in a timely manner. Because we have everything we've ever worked on a server. So we have 20 years of programs to pull from for reference. And so just sheer time in the industry, we've got some good backgrounds.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And being able to capture that organizational project and solution memory is a big advantage.
Yeah, it is. It helps us a lot.
Yeah. I've recently returned to my roots with business simulations, using them to help out small business owners find profit opportunities buried in their financials. I get to go in and play with the numbers, basically, and help them find stuff that, if they're not numbers people, they might, be likely missing. But
yeah, sure.
That gives me AI-enabled tools as a business coach. Kind of along that lane that you were just talking about of everything's changing, the firmware updates, the excuses. What technology are you most keeping up with, or the team most keeping up with at the moment?
Well, right now, so AI is starting to creep in spots. It's not being implemented in a lot of things that we are doing right now, but I can see, especially with touch panel design, it's going to start popping up more and more. The stuff that we stay up on is basically a company. This is an example that I don't believe they're releasing anything new this year anyway. Polycom releases something new. We have to know how to control it. We have to know what we can control in it. One of the things that that we've been paying a lot of attention to is the bring your own device systems. Everybody's going to bring your own device. We are retrofitting stuff that we've done 5-10 years ago to bring your own device. Everybody just wants a USB. Plug in my USB. That's all I want. Things like that. I wouldn't say it came out of nowhere. It came out after COVID because everybody went to Teams and Zoom. Before, video conferencing was awesome, kind of a novelty. Now, video conferencing is the way we do meetings. It's not. I remember seeing an episode of a technology show, the comedy on HBO, about the startup, and one of the CEO was trying to do a video meeting, and they kept going, and it was going to be a holograph first, and then they went down to a video, and then they went down to audio, and then they went down, and it just kept getting, it couldn't do it here, couldn't do it here, couldn't do it there. I remember when that stuff was going on, and now it's commonplace. My wife FaceTimes me instead of calls me. Our picture phone from the Jetsons is real. So we're looking at stuff like that when big changes that happen in the business world where like exactly like that, where we were we weren't a novelty because a lot of companies, they were using it to speak to the East Coast to the West Coast, or the New York to London. They were using, that's where they were using their video systems. Now I use it for across town regularly, all the time. And that's what
Yeah, we're
everybody's
probably
using.
both in the, in the western suburbs of Minneapolis.
Exactly. Yes. And those are the big changes. And the next big change, what's going to be the next um big watershed that happens. For us right now, it's camera tracking, because now we have all of this stuff, and this is great. You and I speaking back and forth, but now One Beyond has become big, and Seer Vision and One Beyond are the two. And One Beyond has been purchased by Crestron. So Crestron actually trains and has a staff that help you through the process of implementing the One Beyond. When it came out, that process wasn't there. And so the installations didn't go as smoothly as they could have. Now they have you get a dedicated tech that helps you through the whole front to back, meetings, everything. And that's the next big thing, camera tracking. They want it, especially for bigger rooms, and different modes of camera tracking. I'm working on one now that has presenters on one side and a U-shaped table, and then the president sits at the back. They want to be able to do a presenter only, so the cameras just track on the presenter, and then the president's meeting, where it just tracks on the president, and then just that U-shaped table. So things like that, impossible to do 5 years ago. We weren't doing that. I mean, it was
But very
so it was
manual.
yeah, it was possible. Like Palmer and I used to joke, because that's where audio and control work really hand in hand, because I have to tell the control system when a microphone is open, how long it's been open, is it past a certain threshold, all of this. And then the control system has to tell the camera to go there, so that it lags a little bit. And we always used to joke that the most important, we did camera tracking. We've been doing camera tracking for a long time, but just hasn't been worked great. The most important button in our camera tracking system is the off button. So you could just do the wide shot and do the meeting. But now it's amazing. It's next level. It's like watching a produced television show. Um, the cameras are smooth. They go to the correct spots. There's really no lag. It's quite so. That's the next big thing that we're looking at, keeping up on, um, watching for new stuff coming in, and um, video and audio over IP. That's been going on for a while, but it's really getting that people just want to pull Cat5. They don't want to pull audio or video cables anymore. Just Cat5.
Yeah, I can imagine that. Yeah. So as things are changing the business landscape, and as you're keeping up with these different kinds of things, kind of what kind of tricks or techniques do you use to kind of break that circuit of the routine and stay innovative?
Um, we're almost with our business, we're almost pushed into it. Like,
Sounds like it,
sometimes
yeah.
we're just hanging on. Like, um, whoa, this has come through. One Beyond came through a couple years ago. I'm going to use them as an example now. Super great idea. Like, oh, this is going to be cool. And then the first like 2 or 3 projects we did, one of them actually got pulled out of a installation. Um, 2 of them stuck, weren't real great. But then we see other companies, Crestron, saying, "Hey, this has got a lot of promise. We can make this really, really good," and they did. And now, so we're constantly oh for you know, being in the tech industry, I get so many emails a day saying this is new, this is great, got a new this. So you know, I go through those usually in the morning when I get in, because I'll have a big old list if I don't have something that I have to jump right on. um but I actually I love what I do. I love audio. I've been doing it since I hope I love it. I've been doing it since 1990. So um I'm curious. I keep up on it. I keep up on my training. Um, there's always something new popping up. I'm going to go back and use QSC as an example again. They are consistently adding things to their um, to their training, adding
Mm.
modules. So you've gone through. You can go back and they'll show you which new items they've added, so you can just hit those. And honestly, you should check out the QSC training videos. They're on YouTube, um, and they're actually quite entertaining. They have two guys that do them, and the production value is amazing. It's not just some guy saying, you know, draw the line to here, and you have uh, they're it's it's good stuff. And yeah, it's actually, I would say, in our in what we do, it's never boring. Like
Mm.
I don't think I've ever we've never sat around like at an employee party and said, "Oh, I just feel like I'm doing the same thing over and over again." It's always something new, and a lot of it is we work with a bunch of different companies, so we're always the subcontractor. So, and each company has their own style of design,
Mm.
products that they use. So one of our jokes is that we've done our for 20 years we've been turning displays on and off and projectors on and off, and it's all and it still can be a hassle. Baud rates, if it's IP, does it handshake? Does it have does it have a password to get in? Now with the power saving mode, you shut it off and everything shuts off and you can't wake it up. So you have to
Yeah.
go into the menu and say, I don't want power save mode, I just want to sleep. So things like that. And then down the road, somebody gets in there with the remote and says, oh, power save mode, that sounds interesting. I'll turn that on. And then we get a call. So the TV shut off and it won't turn back on. So things like that. So yeah, it's always changing. And I think all of us are pretty, we're it comes at us fast.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, just on the user end of some of that, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
always changing, always having you know, quite honestly, end users get into it,
Oh
having
yeah.
changes, security
Oh
issues,
yeah.
all of that.
Oh yeah. And designing panels for the control system guys. You know, we do we've always prided ourselves on our panel design. We get graphics and we from the people, and the graphics have gotten so good compared to, you know, when we were working on the 640 by whatever, the little panels, they're grainy, you can see the jagged lines. Now they're beautiful. Some of those panels are absolutely beautiful, and we can um the we get from the marketing company, we'll get the color codes and we'll get the graphics and everything, so it is actually their look when they see
Mm.
that. It's impressive when you come into a meeting room or a little theater area, and or even we can do that on the smallest little huddle room. You come in and the company logo and the color scheme is all there. That's impressive. It's a we like doing that because it's a wow factor.
Yeah, so it's especially a personal touch
Yeah.
for the client.
Yep. Yep.
Neat. Yeah, well, let's kind of think about the future a little bit. You know, if you
Sure.
could wave a magic wand and change one thing um, in the company, what would it be?
Um, right now, if I could wave a magic wand, I would take two more programmers today. Um, we have we're at capacity. We're booked about a month to a month and a half out at a time. I would like to get that down to 3 to 4 weeks if I could, because sometimes I would like two guys that would just be um, here for the quick jobs, the stuff that something like I have something in 3 weeks. We can make that happen. We can all work multiple projects at the same time. But now I have 68 active projects on my plate at this moment. Um, so, but it would be great to be able to have that. So more people right away. That's really the one thing. And it's a little our industry, our what we do is a little specialized. Um,
Mhm.
so we 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 have trained, we have trained two guys that are with us now. We have trained from they walked in, they had computer experience. That's it. Then we send them to the trainings and they're doing great. Well, one of them is part owner of the company. One of them is Guy Goddess. Um, that was quite a while ago. And then one of them is a friend of mine, Josh Cortaz, and Josh has been doing amazing. Um, and then our other new hire was built um, uh, modules for RTI for a long time. And now he is my QSys guy. And if I could get two more Crestron AMX programmers, it would be more comfortable. That's we are ready to grow, and we're actively looking right now for people. But it's just the interview process and the people, and yeah, that's kind of the thing. If I could just wave a wand and say, "Hey, we are good to go," um, that would be awesome.
More, yeah.
That would be great. Otherwise, the way our company works, uh, Guy and Nate and I are pretty comfortable. Like everything, we've been at it for long enough. Palmer, our who we bought the company from, our fearless leader, Palmer. He's a very interesting guy. He's got a huge heart. Um, his uh, his philosophy from the start was hire smart people and pay them what they're worth, and then also family is first. Like if anything ever happens with your family, or I know that Minnesota has the FMLA leave and all that, but we're just first thing, go take care of that. We'll be fine. Um, he always used to say it's only AV. Nobody's gonna die because they didn't get their touch panel done in time. We're gonna be fine. So those philosophies that we have brought into this work. I mean, they work. Um, we have excellent employee retention. We don't once once you're in with us, you're not going anywhere.
I'm gonna want to. Yeah.
Yeah, because you don't want to. And so that's that that whole thing. Like future wise, we're just looking to grow. We really want to grow, and it'll come. I would like it to come quicker, but we all want it to come quicker. But there's other things we have to do too. We actually have
Yeah.
to work. We're owners, but we're also
Yeah.
the programmers. We're not. It's not. We're not sitting in an office saying we need more people. We'll just. We're actually out there going. I need help with it. I'm too
Workers.
busy.
Yeah. Well, last question for you. I mean, kind of coming off of that piece is what advice would you have to offer other entrepreneurs or aspiring folks in the tech sector who are just starting out or who are facing challenges in their business? I mean,
Oh,
let's see. Tips and
Well, yeah. So so this is my third or fourth foray into entrepreneurship. I was I worked for myself when I ran sound. Um, and the one thing that I would say for tech stuff I can speak to the AV industry. There are there's an unbelievable amount of free resources online through companies. Um, I'll use QSC and Biamp are two great examples. You can go there and you can sign up for an account, and that gets you into all of the education for that. That'll put you into in the AV world. That'll get you a head start into designing a system. If you don't want to be a programmer, just knowing what equipment works with what stuff. Um, that's huge. We have engineers who are still learning that have been working for 20 years that we get drawings that we need to doctor or help out with. Um, so just having the basic knowledge um, of what equipment works with each other. That's for the AV industry. That is huge. That's what it's all about. Um, uh, and it's different from each manufacturer. BSS is different than Biamp, is different than QSC, and then the Crestron is different from AMX, is different from RTI. So it's all that's a big things, figuring out how they kind of work, what their special items are, and then uh yeah, with like with AMX, concentrate on like so you're interested in AMX, find somebody. With Crestron you have to be sponsored by a program, a CSP, a certified programmer, or a company that sells. But that's not very hard to get sponsored, you can be an intern. But if we hire you, we're sending you to all of the stuff. We have one guy right now. We just did hire a guy, and he's going through right today and tomorrow. He's going through his last training, I believe. And then, but he's already programming. We've had him programming for 3 months, so he's pretty ahead of his class. But just get out there and do some searching and talk to AV companies, talk to the guys, hit sometimes their mixers pop up, networking things. Sure has the guys at Excellence Marketing. Give Pat or any of the guys there a call and say, hey, I'd like to come to your QSC audio demos, things like that. Yeah, they'll get you in. So just kind of poke around and see what's going on. And I would say focus on one thing. Focus like you want to be a Crestron programmer, focus on Crestron. We'll teach AMX once you get in here. But if you have Crestron knowledge when you come in, awesome. We'll put you to work right away and then get you educated on other stuff. More valuable.
yeah,
Just make yourself as valuable as possible.
yeah. And continue to learn, be focused, be curious.
Yep.
Um,
Just keep, because it's coming. Like I said, get on the email list. That's not hard at all. And then when you do decide to break off, like there's a few independent programmers in the Minneapolis area who are doing very well for themselves. Um, when you do break off, um, there's there are you can subcontract to uh, any a lot of businesses have a designated AV person. You could even back this was probably like 10 years ago. I remember they were firing all their AV people and hiring independent contractors that would stop by one or two times a week. That's still counts. So talk to some companies and say, hey, you need somebody to just come in a couple of times a week to make sure your meeting rooms are running smoothly. because let me tell you, a lot of meeting rooms don't run smoothly, and a lot of people there's
Yeah.
there's always the customer's always poking around with something. So they'll that would be a great in to get yourself some capital rolling right away, because we all know that when you break out on your own, and right now, I mean, we're still paying for the business, so we're not really seeing any returns on it, and we won't for a little while, but we plan for it. We budgeted
Mhm.
for it. We know what's going on. We're fine, but um, it's getting that capital rolling right away. That's the tough thing. And sometimes you have to do some things that you feel, wow, this is I know all this stuff. That was my thing. I was running sound. I I just ran sound for Keith Urban yesterday, and now I'm at some little bar in the middle of Wisconsin at running two speakers on a stick with an acoustic guitar, like some guy. So you just kind of have to get those ups and downs, because the ups are awesome. The downs can be awesome too.
Yeah. Just learn from them and pack them into that bag of experience.
Yep, yep. Just yeah, just keep plugging along. Um, Money's money, capital's capital. Keep it. You do what you can do to keep that rolling. Um, and we reinvest back into our business. Everything we don't. We're the nonprofit. We don't take money at the end of the year. The company doesn't make any money. It's all distributed through the employees, and um and if we need anything new, because that's another thing you have to remember, you're going to need a fairly high powered computer. You're going to need a space to do it. You're going to need multiple monitors, because it's impossible to do any of this stuff with just one monitor. Things like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
I say go for it. I'm going to be the stereotypical entrepreneur and say it's the most amazing thing. I
Awesome.
do
Yeah,
it.
and like you say, you're watching the numbers. I mean, it's the from the business coaching side of things, it's the folks, 50% of businesses run out of cash in the first 5 years, and
Yeah.
82% of those weren't watching the financials.
Yeah, they're just rolling along going. Yeah.
Where I come in and help them,
Yeah,
I,
that's
I
where
take,
you come in and see help. Yeah.
yeah, take them through that AI enabled simulation. Say, okay, let's take a look at your financials for a minute and see where you got some opportunities. Yeah, that's all.
Yes. Yep.
Well, cool.
Yeah, it's not an easy life, but it's pretty awesome once it gets rolling.
Yeah. Well, thank you much for your time today,
Yeah.
Jay.
Thanks, Steve.
Yeah, great meeting you and hearing about advanced design here. Advanced,
Advanced
there,
control. Yeah, it's okay.
advanced
It's
control.
a tongue twister. Yeah, like I said before, it was the acronym was available as www dot, and then we put words in to match the letters. So it is a tongue twister, and it's not the greatest thing. So we just usually go by advanced control. That's what everybody knows us as. So
All right. Well, and thank you for your patience with me on that one.
yeah, no problem at all. No, it's there's been many patients with that one.
Okay, great. Thanks. For those watching the podcast, when you're faced with challenges in your own business, consider these tips and what Jay's offered. I mean, a lot of experience here, a lot of creative stuff in being able to keep track of. Use the advancements using free resources and kind of leveraging your network and hooking up with people who can help you continue to move that tech savvy piece as well as the business savvy piece ahead.
Yeah,
So,
and people like you, if you're doing the AI thing, people like you, um, save up and put a little bit money into something that will help you move forward. Like that's the big thing. Return on investment. That would be a yeah, huge return
yeah,
on investment.
yeah, great. So, as always, I'm Steve Semler here with Focal Point Business Coaching and helping techies be great leaders. Look forward to seeing y'all in the next episode. Thanks.